I was bullied in school, and then my ex was very, very critical and abusive and was always putting me down. So he'd call me ugly, and then he would be drinking and smoking and would get me to do it. But then he would still be telling me how lucky I was to be with him, but nobody else would want me because I was so weird. And I didn't have it great growing up either. So I always felt like I was alone. And then when my kids turned out to have special needs and be acting out, it's like I really am a failure. We are an outpatient mental health center. We have other programs as well, including PRP and substance abuse treatment. And we are recording little role plays or vignettes that encompass some of the types of clients we may see and how you might see a therapist work with the clients. If you want to see what therapy is all about, this vignette we're about to role play out, although it is fictional characters, it's going to feel real because I am not an actress and I am winging it for what I might say if I was the client. So it'll feel a little real. I am being a client who has been seeing a therapist, Miss Edna, for several weeks, and I like seeing Miss Edna, but I still have a lot of doubts about her because I'm not a very trusting person. I've been through a whole lot. So that's the introduction I'll give about myself. Miss Edna, do you want to say anything else?
No.
No. Okay, well, let's get started then.
Okay. Welcome, Lori. How are you? How have you been since our last session?
I think, well, since the last session, probably the same, but the same means that I wish I was seeing more progress.
See. So give me a little bit, when you say more progress, what is your expectation there, being that you've been in a few sessions now, right? What's the expectation?
Well, the session so far, you've been doing just questioning slightly. And listening and expecting. It seems like you're expecting me to do a lot of work at home that I don't have time for. And I get really, really stressed. And I just need to, my kids are driving me crazy. I don't have support. I'm still tempted. And if I don't take a drink myself, then I'm raiding the refrigerator, but then I can't afford that much. And you know, the good diet foods are not as tasty and a lot more expensive. So that's what's going on. And then I get nauseous or sick to my stomach from the stress or what I'm eating, and the kids are yelling, and I just take to my bed.
I see. So first I would like to say, and thank you for being honest, right? I would like to say that try to remember there's no rush, right? Remember how we talked about intake, what therapy involves? Right? Try to remember that there is no rush at all. Therapy is a process, right? And we're going to go according to your pace, right? So if you feel a little bit rushed or whatever you're feeling like you expressed today, I think that's great to not repress or hold on to it. Just come to session being as honest as you possibly can, right?
Yeah,
And
but
mhm,
it's not so much. It's like I'm two different people
absolutely.
because you're telling me not to be rushed
Mm-hmm,
and to be patient,
mm-hmm.
but I'm miserable this way. So I'm very impatient.
Okay, okay. So we're going to do an exercise, right? It's to help you to relax, right? Because once you've been through and experienced trauma, your body can perceive a lot of threat and stay in a heightened sense, like a state, right? So I want us to practice. Remember how we talked about the deep breathing, which is the basic, you take in deep breaths, you hold
Yeah,
it and then release, right? I want you to start using that often, but I'm going to teach you another technique as well.
yeah.
Okay.
But I have to. Do I need directions for me to have to remember all this stuff?
It's pretty easy because it's the use of your tongue. So it's pretty easy. Okay.
Oh,
So if you bear with me, I'll show you how, right? And this technique is a very good one because it relaxes both your mind and your body. Okay. So
okay.
when you're having racing thoughts, you're feeling anxious and your body feels restless, you do this technique and it's going to relax both your mind and your body. Okay.
Okay.
So you
So,
ready?
am I supposed to do this when I've taken to my room and shut the kids out?
You can do it while the kids are still giving you a hard time because no one sees what you're doing. You know what you're doing, but no one else around you unless you say something.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
I like that. I
Okay,
can have
good.
my own special technique that I don't have to tell people.
Yes, absolutely. And I want
Okay.
this to be your go-to for whenever you feel any sense of stress. This should be your first before you decide what to do about the stress. Okay. So you ready?
Okay.
Okay. So it's called the vagus. It sounds like Vegas, but it's VAGUS, nerve activation.
All right.
So all you do is stick your tongue. So feel for the soft palate and on the roof of your mouth, right?
Oh, I just burnt that the other day with some
Oh, I'm
coffee.
sorry to hear. So if you would just roll your tongue back there, right,
Roll it
to
backwards.
the soft, yeah, feel for the soft
Mhm.
palate and hold it there for
The
10
soft palate
seconds.
is right at the top of my mouth, huh?
So go back.
Further back where my
Mm-hmm.
tonsils are?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm that much of a contortionist to roll my
Okay.
tongue that way.
So feel for that. You can use your finger or just use your tongue to feel for it, right?
Okay, okay.
Okay. And then just leave your tongue there because if you talk, it'll obviously be removed out of the spot, right? So hold that there for 10 seconds and then release. Okay. And you can repeat that a few times and you'll start to feel your body relax, right? Your nervous system, it'll just relax because it's the longest nerve in our body that runs from top to bottom.
That's weird, but I was concentrating on making sure it was exactly 10 seconds.
Don't worry about that at all. And you have to probably do it a few times, right? Because your body has been used to being in this heightened state for quite a while, right? So
Are you
repeat
sure
it.
this is going to work?
It is. It does. Yes, I can vouch for it because I've tried it myself. Okay, so it's an evidence-based technique. Okay, so repeat that. If you talk, your tongue moves out of place and it's zero, right? It's zero
Okay, so
productiveness.
now
So
I'd have
just
to like start all over again.
so just put your tongue there, count to 10, release, right? And breathe like you normally would.
Okay.
Okay. So this is easy. Like I said, no one knows you're doing it, right? You're the one who knows that this is being implemented, right? And it's pretty easy. So it's not something you have to separate, as you were asking, from your kids or anything else in your environment.
So, do I look funny when I do that?
Not at all. Not to me, you didn't at all.
Okay, because
Okay.
I have enough issues with other people. I don't want to be teased for doing something weird and looking funny.
Talk to me about that. What do you mean? Go ahead and explain that a little bit about looking funny.
You know that I was bullied in school, and then my ex was very, very critical and abusive, and was always putting me down. So he'd call me ugly, and then he would be drinking and smoking and would get me to do it. But then he would still be telling me how lucky I was to be with him. But nobody else would want me because I was so weird. And I felt I didn't have it great growing up either. So I always felt like I was alone. And then when my kids turned out to have special needs and be acting out, it's like I really am a failure. But I don't think I'm not stupid. So again, sometimes I feel like two different people, because it's like, I know I'm smarter than that, but the other part of me says, no, you just keep making mistakes, and people can't be trusted so what's the point?
Okay. So I want us to peel that back a little bit, right? By examining what your thoughts are saying, the emotions that come out of that, and how that tends to influence your behavior. Okay. So give me one thought, maybe recent or maybe something from your childhood, right? That feeds into that perspective.
I try not to think about, I tell you what happened, but, I try not to think about what happened in my childhood,
Okay. So let's stay in the present, right? You said how people view and think of you, right? And you mentioned the word funny. So what is the thought that comes to your mind, right? Just give me, and it could be a simple statement that comes to mind where you're thinking about how people perceive you.
All right. She's weird. She's weird looking, and she picked the wrong clothes for her body type. Why is she dressed like that? Especially like if I have to go to my kid's school for a meeting. I don't know how to, I don't trust those teachers and that principal anyway. When they tell me something's wrong with my kid, I don't think there's anything wrong with my kid. It's just, but he does talk back too much. The little shit.
I see. So let's look at the thought, one of the thoughts that you mentioned, right? And now start to work through that one thought, okay? So would you say that she's weird? Or more so, which is the most intrusive out of all these that you said, right?
Probably.
Is it?
just that she's too weird. I can't. I need to stay away from her.
Okay, so let's go with that.
You know, which is kind of what I think sometimes of everybody else.
Right. Right. So let's go with that thought, right? Which is triggered when you think someone, is it something visual that triggers you, or these thoughts are constantly, regardless of any situation, maybe every situation, you're constantly thinking this thought somewhere?
Well, it's when my kid talks back to me.
I see. Okay.
You know, I tell him, you know, you got to do some things around this house. You're old enough, and you know, why don't you bring your poor mom something to drink out of the fridge?
Okay.
And he says, get it yourself.
Okay. So that behavior is what triggers that. Okay, so let's look at that particular one, right?
And he even says, why are you being so lazy, Mom? You know, and he you know, so, and I say, I don't want that disrespect.
I see. And when he does that, how does that make you feel?
Makes me wonder about, is he right? But I don't think that right away. You know, it's like, at first I'm really angry.
Okay, so that's one of the first emotions that comes up is anger. Okay.
Really angry. But then I get scared at the same time.
I see. How come? Why scared?
Because he's getting big. He's a big kid. He's bigger than I am.
Okay.
And is he going to turn out like my ex, who got abusive? Am I being a bad parent? Yeah, I'm scared that I'm raising a monster here, you know, and then I really, really need that drink out of the fridge, but not just something, I need something sweet or something alcoholic.
Okay. So you think this thought, right? When this situation happens, you feel angry and scared, right? And the behavior is to find something to drink.
Well,
the response.
Actually, my first behavior isn't to go find something to drink myself. My first behavior is to smack, think that the kid needs a smack.
Okay. Okay. So let's go back and try to make the connection, right? And I want you, because this is the thing, due to what you've experienced, right? And it's valid, right? When we experience trauma, our natural emotions are what you're saying, the sadness, right? Sometimes it becomes anger. So, however, the thing about trauma is that at times we can create different emotions, right? Based on what we've experienced, and it can keep you stuck, right? And so when you're feeling stuck, your body finds a way to defend itself, right? And then that in turn contributes to the behavior, and that behavior also contributes to depression or anxiety, right? Which is some of the symptoms that you've been experiencing, right? And so I want us to be able to help you to work through the thoughts, right? That's connected to your emotions, which is all valid, right? Which is all valid, and then be able to change your behavior so you can function better. Does that make sense, Lori?
Well, it is a little bit hard to follow you sometimes.
Okay, explain what.
Oh, the thoughts and the behaviors.
The thoughts. Okay.
And all mixed up at the same time, and the emotions and everything's all mixed up at the same time. And being able to control it when I'm just feeling like I'm out of control.
Got it. So I would say, again, try to relax. Remember the activity we just did with the tongue? Try to do that and then exhale, like breathe out your mouth, right? Once you finish doing the 10, right? And I want you to just take a quick second and scan your room, right? Take a look around you and ask yourself this question: am I in danger? Right? Ask yourself that question: am I in danger? And I want to hear your answer after you've assessed your surrounding. Are you in danger?
Not this very second, but I don't know, actually. You never know what's going to happen in this neighborhood.
That's right, right? But I want you to focus on that immediate present time, right? Because your brain has kept a track of all the bad things that have happened, right? But in this quick present assessment that you did, you said you were not in danger. Is that right?
For right now, there's nobody else here.
Yes. Okay. Good. Right? So that helps you and breathe through that, because that's the fact. You're trying to separate what's perceived threat from actual threat, right? So right now, there is no actual threat. Does that make sense?
Okay,
In this present moment. Yes.
Okay.
So with that, now I want you to think through that thought. So for example, and just to help you give you an example of what that negative thought is. So someone says, my friend is mad at me. That's the negative thought that keeps them stuck, right? And then I ask them, well, what emotions do you feel when you think that thought, that your friend is mad? And they say sad and worried. Does that make sense?
Okay, well, if I thought my friend was mad at me, and I didn't think I deserved them to be mad, I think that they shouldn't be my friend anymore.
Okay. That's a valid approach too, as well.
But that's why I have so few friends.
Okay. So we'll also unpack that a bit, right? But so for now, with the thought that you said, right, and how people perceive you, what are the emotions? And you said anger, and then you become scared, right, as it pertains to your son. And that's valid, right? And then now we want to look at when you're feeling angry and sad, because you can feel both emotions at the same time, right? How do you respond to that?
Well, normally when I'm angry and sad, I either shut down or I act angry.
Okay. All right. So with that said, right, all of these three things are connected, right? All these three things are connected, and they in turn determine how you're functioning, right? If you're impaired or thriving, right? So we're trying to move you into a space where you are able to feel those things, right? But not respond in that sense from that angle, right? So it doesn't mean life will be anxiety, rid of anxiety, right? But however, no matter what you face, you're still able to keep moving and keep thriving.
Thank you so much, Miss Edna. For anyone watching this, most of the time after a few sessions, the client's going to be a little bit more cooperative. Even if you don't have a whole lot of trust, the client's going to try to listen better to the therapist. You develop that rapport.